Wittgenstein said, "The limits of my language means the limits of my world." Charlemagne added, "To have another language is to possess a second soul." And Socrates declared, "I'm not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world." This is really what learning a language does. It expands your world, it gives you another soul, it connects you to humanity without border. When you learn a new language, we just don't add vocabulary. We learn new rhythms of thoughts, new ways of belonging, new ways of seeing the world. But let's be honest, the path is not all that easy. For learners, the challenge is not only mastering grammar or pronunciation, it is the courage. Courage to ask for direction, ask for explanation at a hospital, courage to apply for a job, and sometimes courage to laugh at a joke without feeling an outsider. But those who have never faced it cannot fully comprehend it. There is a nice saying in Korean, "Kwabu sarmun horabiga anda." That means only a widower knows the pain and pains of a widow. Well, we have similar thing in Dutch. Niemand weet waar de schoen wringt, behalve hij die hem draagt. Yes, both of these mean that you will never quite comprehend unless you personally experience it. Sometimes good intentions lead to bad outcomes, unfortunately. When a foreigner struggles in Dutch language, people switch instantly in English out of kindness, generosity, or efficiency. Whatever is the reason, but this kindness has a hidden cost. It denies practice, it snatches opportunities, and it makes learning Dutch like a mountain that none will ever let you climb. Maybe it's just an exaggeration. Another obstacle is that not all learners have the same flair for language. Unlike other subjects like history, political science, economics, rocket science, it's not about absorbing facts. It's a living skill. Uneven, unpredictable. Some learn quickly, some take ages. Some speak flawlessly, and for some people, just one sentence is like climbing hill. Thus, Dutch learning for integration need not be reduced to the test of speed or perfection. It has to be an invitation to a great journey, not a punishment, a bridge, not a barrier. Damas and Heren, this is your host, Sanjay Sharma, and you have just started watching your favorite program, Expaterience. Today, to unpack these critical questions related to the beauty, necessity, and difficulty, we are joined by four distinguished and prominent voices offering different perspectives, yet equally important perspectives. With me is Andrew van Esch. Good morning. He's from D66 Den Haag City Council. He's a member. His portfolio includes social affairs and employment, economy, art and culture, international affairs, and you're also involved in the renovation of the Binnenhof. In case of neighborhoods, you're associated with Benoordenhout as well as Archipel Buurt. I would like to say thank you for taking time amidst your busy schedule. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much for inviting me. And I hope I can give some more lightness after all these terrible stories that is taking place in The Hague. Do you still feel safe here in The Hague? Do you feel safe? Yeah? Yeah, of course, of course.
We are sitting with you, so we are safe. Then we have Lavanya Mirle. She's from India. She's an international finance and research professional, a knowledge migrant preparing for her civic integration exam and aiming at a suitable career in the Netherlands. Great to have you, Lavanya.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Also joining us is Selvei from CC7 Europe. She's a Chief People Officer, which is a big responsibility, especially in the current days. And she has extensive experience hiring people from various sectors, skills, and segments. Looking forward to hearing from you a lot. Welcome, Selvei, to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. And finally, we have John Ritfeld. He's the head of Stichting Vooruitgang door Zelfwerkzaamheid. He has over 40 years teaching experience, especially teaching NT2, the language, Dutch for inburgering as well. And he's helping, assisting people with the civic integration exam. Welcome, John.
Thank you.
To start today's discussion, I thought generally, we need lighter topics, but I would go for a very heavy one and ask for the very difficult question. And if I can start with you, Andrew. My question is Dutch easy language?
No, it's a very difficult language. For me, it was easy because it was the first words that I've heard, of course, because I was born here. Now, it's a very difficult language. At the same time, I think it's also a very beautiful language. And there are only a few countries in the world where it's been spoken. But I love it a lot. But I know that people struggle with it. I work with refugees that I try to help to a job. And for them, it's very difficult to find a good job if you're an academic, if you don't speak the language.
Absolutely, I agree, because I think this is very interesting observation here. Whenever I talk about the beauty of the language, people don't seem to be very enthusiastic about it. But, or maybe it's just my exposure to it. My connection with Dutch starts with Andre Hazes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I just can't, forget this lines. I love because when I heard, the sentences in between, ja, ik denk nog steeds hoe het was geweest toen je naast me zat hier aan de bar. Ik vroeg, drink je mee? Dat vond jij oké. Toen je proostte naar me keek, werd ik zo mee. It's just like, who would not like that? What is your take, John, about the language, whether it's easy or difficult?
Oh, my experience with the Dutch language, it is for the newcomers in this country very hard to learn the language because they have to translate in their own language before they start. And the main point is that sometimes they feel a little bit afraid to explore themselves with the Dutch language. But it is a courage, it's a courage to pick up the language. And the main point is, you mentioned it already, is the connection with other citizens. If they get the courage to meet with other participants in this country, they will pick up the language very fast. That's it.
Yeah, because, according to some categorization, it's very interesting that I think the American Foreign Services, they categorize which languages are difficult or easier, and they think German is more difficult than Dutch. And I found it actually quite difficult, though I love languages, but still I'm getting in my hand on. Selvei, a strong CV comes on your desk, but limited Dutch. Is it already automatic deal breaker for you?
Well, the industries I've worked in is mainly international, where the main language used is English. So it definitely isn't a deal breaker because we look for knowledge in our arena, in everywhere I've worked. And I've worked in multiple countries as well. But looking at Holland, yes, of course, Dutch is a necessity for certain roles like facilities or when you're dealing with outside vendors. But generally, for me, if a really strong CV comes in, I look beyond that. For me, it's key critical, the knowledge and actually the acquisition of English.
Okay. Lavanya, can you tell me how many languages do you speak?
Well, I speak around 5, fluent in 5 languages.
5? Which are they?
The Dutch is on the way.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
6 languages, you can say, yes.
Which language are they?
Well, 4 languages are Indian language. One is my native Kannada. And Tamil, well, it's one of the neighboring state. And also Sri Lankan, they speak Tamil.
Yeah.
And Telugu, that is also a neighboring state in India where I speak. And of course, we have our official language, Hindi, which is a must in India. And of course, the English So I'm fluent in these 5 languages, and now I am learning Dutch, A1 level, I should say. So it's
A1.
just basic Dutch, yeah.
Perfect. And if you compare your, looking back at your experience, do you think Dutch is on the difficult side, or mostly you can compare with one of these languages that you have already known?
Well, it depends. It depends from person to person. As they say, not all 5 fingers are the same. Some find it really easy, where they can learn in a span of maybe 6 to 8 months. And there are other people who struggle, just to struggle to pass A1 level Dutch. Because luckily, Dutch people are, the population here mostly everybody speaks English.
Yeah.
And Dutch people are really so sweet. Immediately when they see an immigrant, they're happy to switch to English. So as immigrants, we feel that learning Dutch is not that of a necessity when you are in a new country here. So yeah, it all depends on person to person.
I was just, I think recently I saw somewhere this manifesto by MBO Rad. I think it came in July 2025. And they mentioned that the integration level of Dutch is set quite unrealistic. They find it's not really achievable. At the moment, I think it's B1. It used to be A2 level. So what do you think about this? Do you have any opinion?
Well, it is a difficult language. And of course, if you are working in an environment where you only need to speak English, you think, well, why bother, And I know lots of international that come here and join a job for 2, 3, 4 years. Why bother learning this language? Maybe at the coffee machine you can say a few words, but that's it. I can understand it. At the same time, if you're staying here longer, especially for refugees, it is very important, because the moment when you speak some of the language, and A2 is first grade school, and B1, it's a secondary school level. It means that you have a larger vocabulary. You can also, if you speak the language, you can go to the culture and the heart of the people. And if you really want to connect, and Dutch people, we know that it's a very hard language to learn.
Okay.
And we love it if people make an effort. And of course, we are sometimes very impatient. I think, oh my God, it's very long, this sentence. So we switch into, you can speak English. But at the same time, there are also people, I know you can get this button that says, speak Dutch to me, spreek Nederlands met mij.
Yeah.
And if you use that button and you point to it, then people will make an effort to slow down for you.
Yeah, I was just recently had a look. There's I'm also tuning into this Makelaktal at NOS, a public broadcast. To my amazement, they are actually addressing 2.5 million audience here. 2.5 is a big number out of 17 or 19. And the target groups are elderly people, people with the learning, abilities or problems, or those who are learning as a second language. So they are using simpler words in a colloquial tongue. So that's one thing. And the second is, I think, again, in January 2025, Gemeente Arnhem. And I think they were also joined by Leeuwarden and Haarlemmer Meer. They had a circular in which they asked that people can ask for a second draft or easy draft for an official mail sent by Gemeente if they don't understand it. So John, my question to you is, what is the idea behind it? Is that people don't find it easy to understand official text, or?
Dutch is a very difficult language, that we all know about that. And learn a language is very difficult, the Dutch language. It is a challenge for other participants who don't live in the Netherlands. The basic is to get involved in contact with Dutch-speaking people. Learning a language is not only attend classes. Learning a language is get in contact with Dutch-speaking people. About Leeuwarden, and I had not enough information about this item. But about Den Haag, we know that there is an integration course on A2 level, and also on B1 level for integration. And there are indeed some discussion about the level, because you came from your own country with your own language, your native language, and you have to build a living in the Netherlands with a new language, the Dutch language. And sometimes you have to start at A0 level and to pick it up. How you can pick it up? Attend classes? No. Get involved with other people in this country to help you. They will help you. The button, spreek Nederlands met mij. That's it. Go, meet with them and talk with them. The main issue is, that is my experience, they come in the classes 3 hours and then they go back to their own language, English or Spanish, things like that. Exactly. And that's the main issue about this.
Okay. Were you also aware about this?
Yes, of course. No, I know it because... and the funny thing is, most of the time the kids learn the language faster, but the parents then insist that at home we speak our own language, because otherwise the kids lose their own language. Whereas it's better to talk Dutch at home as well, because you can practice with them. But yeah, it's up to people what they want, of course.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Right. Selvei, as a HR professional, how do you value the competency in Dutch vis-a-vis these diverse languages the internationals bring to you? How do you assess, like, what I need more?
The competency in Dutch really does help for integration, and a lot, living in different countries myself, to know the languages really helps. It gives a sense of comfort. It helps you to integrate, and like you said, to get to know your Dutch neighbours a lot better. However, in the current company I work with, CC7 Europe, we have 28 nationalities. So you can imagine the different languages that cross around there. So to try and say, we need Dutch or we need a specific language where the common international language is English, it helps. However, that doesn't exclude the fact that I would say 80% of our population are learning Dutch, not just to get their inburgering and get their residency, but to also integrate as well, because they find it a lot easier. But going back to this, the Gemeente putting letters. So for me, Google Translate is excellent in trying to get through, and it helps me in my day-to-day job as well. But I agree with you. Speaking is the key. I've been here a while, and I've been trying to learn Dutch, which sounds not so beautiful, but it is a beautiful language when you translate. However, yes, when people don't reciprocate or when you don't practice it on a regular basis, it is really difficult. But, going back to your original, to me, a lot of people do it out of their own will to learn Dutch, not necessary to work, but they want to genuinely integrate into the community and make life a bit easier for them.
That's right, that's true. Lavanya, in terms of social cohesion, we are talking about integration. Do you think this language learning should be individual responsibility, or you would say it has to be state-supported necessity? What do you say?
Yes, of course, it should be an individual responsibility while speaking. But on the other hand, it should be two ways. It should not be just an immigrant here trying to learn Dutch to integrate into the community, but it should also be an effort from the government as well. As an immigrant, yes, it's our duty to learn the language so that you get to know the culture, the people, so that you get included in them. It's not like, or else we feel we are very isolated, not knowing the language or the culture. So, as Ms. Toppings, she said, there are like a multi-diverse culture under one roof working. So automatically we switch to English. So that's being an official language here. So there are times where, as Mr. Andrews said, like the coffee machine breaks, where you need to talk, that so that you don't feel left out.
Yeah.
So these are also things we need to consider. We are not just here as a temporary expat. We need to be included in the culture here. So I think yes, and considering learning the Dutch, as mentioned before, it is not easy for some people, and some people it's easy where they learn in a span of maybe 6 to 8 months. But as immigrants, we put more efforts in learning the language to show our respect to the Dutch community. Yes, we are learning the language here. In between these, we will be juggling between our jobs and our family, and yes, settling in the new country. And if your children are studying in Dutch schools, of course, the whole curriculum will be in Dutch. And parent-teacher meeting, please don't even talk. Everything is in Dutch. So we don't want to be left out. So that is also one of the reasons, yes, we have to put in the efforts.
Yes. Parent-teacher meeting must be very hard, huh?
Talking about included is a good idea, but the will to include, that's it.
Yeah.
Because what we notice is that the people, they go back in their own situation.
Exactly.
Hockey club, things like that. Yeah? Go and meet with other people. And in that way, you can be included and learn the language very fast.
Exactly. It's just like, they say train the muscle.
Yeah.
Just every day you need to train. So language is also a thing like where every day you need some practice, not just 1 hour or 30 minutes or something you learn and you just close the book. I'm done. No. No, actual learning comes when you interact with the local people.
Yeah, interaction.
Yeah, interaction is important
And to
here.
be honest, I mean, living in the Netherlands, I mean, learning Dutch is difficult, but for the rest, it's pretty easy. Things are well organized, and I speak with internationals for decades already, and even when they have to leave because they are get a new posting somewhere, and they say, well, I hate to leave it because it's really nice, and especially in The Hague. So the only thing is that language, that Nederlands. But if you also don't try to. That's what I always tell the refugees. Don't try to be perfect.
Yeah.
Just try, just use the words. Keep on, because our brain will make it into a normal sentence. But
Just fall and raise,
yes, of course.
fall and raise.
Yeah.
And that's why our slogan is, taal verbindt ons allemaal.
Yeah.
If you know the language, even English or you name it, you get involved with other people.
Exactly.
So you get connected with each other. Taal verbindt ons allemaal. That's the main issue, and that we have to go for.
And I think here, especially because when I arrived, my kids were young and now they're a lot older, but getting them into the football clubs, the local football clubs, and local sports, which is really structured and set up here, you do interact with the local community. You do, although they're absolutely willing to talk English to you, if they see you're trying, they do. Especially where I live, it's a small area just outside of The Hague, and even if I go in and say my Netherlands nicht good, they're like, no, it's really good, and they carry on. I'm like, okay, but it is, and that's what you need, a bit more of that community spirit to try and really encourage you. But going back to you with the children learning, my children speak fluent Dutch, along with other, and if you take it in the concept of living in Netherlands, it's great because they teach us, and much as what you were saying with the badge, they get frustrated when I'm trying to talk Dutch and just say it for me. However, I think looking at a wider context, as you said in your introduction, the more languages you have, the more of an international citizen you become. Yeah. And although Dutch is not spoken as an HR professional, the fact that you've acquired another language is something that you've seen them going over and above. So it shows that, individual perseverance and everything to go to. So I do think it's a mix of both, the self-willingness to do it, but also the support, that there is governmental support in these clubs, in everything that you do. So
does your company facilitate also learning Dutch?
We did before. We had a volunteer that was... Yeah, we did before. We had a volunteer. But what we try and do is facilitate, negotiate subsidies with companies that provide Dutch lessons so that people can do it. But to be honest with you, we found that most of them just go on their own initiative and want to do that, yes.
En de basic is, wanneer ze tegen jou zeggen van, mijn Nederlands is niet goed, then you have to give them the tool and say, maar ik begrijp je wel. Ik begrijp je wel. Yeah, that's so you give them the encourage to go
speak.
for it. To go for
Yeah.
it.
That's very interesting, John. Given that internationals come from all different, economic backgrounds, what teaching strategies do you apply to cater their, individual needs? Because some are able to pay more, less, longer hours, and their level of language also requirements are also different. How do you have any strategies for that?
We start with the intake to check what their basic Dutch level is. And on that we start up to A0, A1, like that. That's the process we make use of. And as I already said, you can learn the language in 2 hours or 3 hours. You have to practice. There are online options. Yeah, you can make use of, and also we advise them to go to the library and get Dutch books and try to read it, and make use of books with pictures with your kids, and go practice with your kids. And so you can help your kids and you help yourself in that way. And as he already said, kids are very quick to pick up languages, not only Dutch but also English.
Any language,
yeah. And
words.
Yeah, words. And then your kids can learn, can help you also with the language. One main advice is also watch jeugdjournaal with your kids. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, that brings me to the language learning policies. Andrew, I would like to know if there are any measures in place to track and validate whether these prescribed levels actually help or lead to better integration and employment outcomes.
Well, I can give an example. I'm not only being a politician locally is not a full-time profession, but I also have an foundation that's called Global Talent Pool, and we help high-skilled academic refugees to a job at their level. Because if you're a doctor or a lawyer and you want to do that kind of job in the Netherlands, then it's very difficult to get that job if you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
At the same time, if you're somebody from Yemen, he was specialized, he had a PhD in artificial intelligence. Yeah, he can work in a company, but he tried already for 4 years to get in. So he just lacked the professional network to get in, but now he's working as a teacher at the Amsterdam University. For others, it's very difficult. What we try now, because if you go to you're forced to learn Dutch for your inburgering, but then you get like 2 times 3 hours a week, and that's not enough.
Yeah.
So what we did, people have to come in at the level of A2, and then we teach them in 1 year to go to B2 level.
Okay.
And that means that they have language lessons in a school, 2 half days, and then they have how do you call it? Language skills with volunteers, and then they also have homework, and then we teach them also, and everybody, we had a sort of pilot program of 1 year. Most of them had a job within 8 months. And and sometimes they don't have to have that B2 level, but it helped them a lot. even in jobs where they have to work that is more into communications, where they have to learn the language a lot. But it is possible, and it means also for the Dutch government, because people get unemployment money,
Benefit, yeah.
that it cuts them with 2 to 3 years. And for the people themselves, for them it's vital, because they're here to stay. They want to start a new life
That's
in
correct.
peace, in safety, and if you speak the language, it's vital to do so. But for internationals that, travel around, it's less important, and I understand it. So, but I still think, but I'm
And
repeating what I already
some
said.
companies they provide in-company training for their employees.
Yeah,
It's also a good
Yeah.
opportunity to learn the language
Yeah, because-
after the normal working hours, after 5 o'clock till 7 o'clock, in-company training. That
Yeah.
is also so you have them in the company and you help them to learn the language. It cuts both sides.
Yes.
Yeah, it is better for the company and also for the employee.
Yeah, because a lot of companies, they're looking for new employees, and it's very hard now in the Netherlands. So they import them from all over the world.
Yes.
But the refugees are already here.
Yeah.
And some are, or a vast group is high skilled. But they lack the door to get in. And that's how we come in. But there are a lot of people that are already here. They have the papers, they have a house.
Yes.
They are very motivated, so think about it.
I am thinking about it. You've got some things going on in my head. But on the back of that, so I'm a governor at the British School of Netherlands, and we have what we call, which I hate the phrase, trailing spouses. So they are usually highly educated people that, have relocated because of their partner's jobs. And when you talk to them, because I'm involved in the parental committee there as well, there are really highly skilled people, and they struggle with trying just as much, and they're allowed to work here. They're in situ as well. So a lot of them do try and get the Dutch language underneath, but a lot of them, similar to the AI person you mentioned, just can't get in.
Yeah.
So it works both ways. If you hire someone that's in situ that knows Dutch, they've got the international background and the highly skilled, then they can also integrate people in the company with Dutch as well. So it works both ways in that sense.
Just follow up are there strict Dutch language requirements in companies? And if so, then how does it cost to you, skilled workers when you have to follow it?
It's really interesting, because I was talking to a colleague the other day, and her friend is a developer in a company in Amsterdam. And there is no strict requirement for Dutch. However, when she sent instructions on doing something to a colleague, the colleague said, "Can you pass this over to someone else? Because it's too complicated. I want it in Dutch." So it can be a bit confusing. For me, it really depends on the role. So if I was heading up HR, say, at a local store like, an Albertine or a Jumbo, to me, Dutch is a necessity. You cannot do the job without being able to communicate to the main staff, which majority speak Dutch, or know the legislation or deal with it. So for me, that is a necessity. But then you've also got, especially in The Hague, a lot of international companies. And more, the Dutch government, they encourage startups with international. So for me, it's more of what you were saying, a personal desire to get Dutch, as opposed to the necessity to have Dutch as a barrier to getting a job here.
True. Lavanya, given your education experience and niche expertise, do you find enough opportunities in English-speaking roles?
Well, there are some, as when you see, for example, the job search engines, where the job description strongly matches your profile, but they add like a hard filter, language in Dutch fluency.
Okay.
That's where you get filtered out. So we feel like we are locked behind the doors. And I know few people who are like, I know this one acquaintance who is a very good friend of mine as well. She was a nurse working in ER emergency room. But she speaks her native language. After coming here to the Netherlands as a dependent, as her spouse is working here, now she is forced to take a survival job. Anything, as sometimes I feel like immigrants, they randomly apply for any jobs that's available.
That's sad.
Yeah, that's sad, and we feel like somewhere our talent and skill is being wasted. So I think the bar should be just lowered a bit. They shouldn't make it more rigid. Like, yes, B1 level or B2 level Dutch is a requirement in your job profile. No, I understand there are some job profiles like healthcare or customer care, where, as Ms. Topping said, yes, Dutch is necessary because you're interacting with the commoners or the localites here. But there are also some jobs which doesn't need to be involved. The speaking is not involved. It's just in-house where everybody speaks English. So I think, there are some barriers. And there are some difficulties also in finding the right job.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so you have
what I also advise my students is to look for voluntary work.
Yeah,
that's a startup. Voluntary work somewhere, 2 hours, 3 hours. So you get in contact with Dutch-speaking people. If you sit at home doing nothing, watching your own TV program like that, you don't learn. Go out, look for a voluntary job, even if it is 2-3 hours a week. You get in contact with
building a network.
People. Building a network. And when you have the network, it's easier for you to go and move in that network.
In The Hague, we have a fantastic center for volunteers. They even have it in English. It's called Volunteer The Hague. It's it's huge, and there you can go. It's like go into a job agency and look for all kinds of volunteer. And sometimes also they need people. When there is of course they need it to entertain older people, or to but also for conferences or big events, and it's really fun. It's really fun. I don't have to do it anymore because I do volunteer work the whole day. But
but Andrew, given the current global economic scenario and the trade scenario that we are in, how critical it is, in your opinion, to adapt a favorable talent acquisition policy or change it by relaxing, as she was mentioning, the strict language requirements?
Well, I think. Because we all work with all kinds of algorithms and filters. That also is, if you put the filter a bit to B1 instead of B2, you get more applicants. And that's just a very simple way to get more people through all those barriers. And also we have to understand that the people, if they are working in the Dutch language organization, then they learn the language much faster.
Yeah, that's correct.
So give them an opportunity, because people, it's not the only talent that they have to speak a language. They also have other talents. And in some jobs, and I totally agree, you don't really need to speak fluent Dutch, because you're using your hands or you're working in a laboratory. And in that sense also the Dutch government is a bit overreacting in that you have to learn the language, because for some jobs you don't need to. And it's very important to get in. But that's also for HR people to realize that, and to put the filter a bit, mild.
I mean, coming from the HR perspective, my philosophy is always look at potential. So if you see someone with A1, my natural assumption is that they're going to go beyond the A1 to the A2 to the to the Bs. So for me, it's looking at that potential, and the fact that they've taken that step to learn the language in the first instance again shows that internal motivation and driver, which is not only a positive for integrating and bringing Dutch, but also a positive in terms of the workplace, because it shows their internal motivation and their willingness to grow with it as well. So definitely, I think lowering the filter brings in more potential people that probably has the motivation and drive.
Yeah. In that context, John, do you notice a kind of a discrepancy or significant gap between the company's expectations of new candidates speaking and the candidates' ability to learn, pick up in a quick period of time, especially when we have for embroidering that time duration is 3 years or so?
Yes.
How realistic it is, and how big is this gap in your observation?
Working in the Netherlands in a Dutch company speaking Dutch is another issue about integration. When you go for the integration course, your goal is to become a Dutch citizen, and they focus on that. And the relation with the company is you have skills from your homeland, and to work in the Netherlands, there are other needs. The Dutch language is one of the needs you need to have. So you have to work both sides for your integration course, focus on that, and to learn the language to be a good employee in the company. Because that's two different issues. And nowadays the integration course is almost, from some groups it is on A2, still on A2 level, and for other groups it's on B1 level. And our experience is the B1 level is very, very hard for...
B1 is hard.
I agree.
yeah, the
Okay.
B1 is very hard. Yeah.
Is it in terms of like grammar, or what makes it hard?
It's also the grammar.
Grammar part.
It's also grammar. And B1, you need more skills to speak the language, to write correct sentences, to in grammar. That's it. And speaking as well. Speaking in a correct way. Yeah, because you can speak, but is the way you speak correct that the other people, the person can understand you? That's it.
So if given a choice, you would say that initiation should be at a A2 level rather than B1? Just personal opinion.
Yes,
I'm
it's a
not
personal
asking for-
opinion. That is a discussion going on
Discussion going
nowadays.
on. Okay.
And I hopefully that the gemeente, they pick this up and try to get in contact with the schools, with the experience, and so they will go through it and make use of the input of the schools to look what they can do about that. They have two things. They put you in the B1 level, and you have to make 600 hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you make the 600 hours and you go 3 times for the exams and you don't pass,
Yeah.
then you can go back to the A2 level.
Okay.
That is very complicated, and you expect from them that they have to do the exams, they have to finish in 3 years.
Yeah.
So that is
No, I think Rotterdam gemeente is experimenting with that. Recently, they had it with the refugees. So they said that it's better actually to stop them. Instead of doing that, they can go for the Z route or Z route, where there is no exam, just like a couple of limited hours, and then they can start working. And while at work, they can pick up much easier. That is their idea. Well,
that is the same procedures in this is also in Den Haag.
Okay.
They have the set route, and but when they go for the intake at the gemeente, most of them get the advice to go for the B1.
Oh,
That's it.
expectations are quite high here. Well,
You can do it.
you can do it, yeah. If only you work hard.
Yeah, of course.
Well, we have talked about all the issues about the economic constraints and the ability of that. So I would like to focus just a little bit time for a way forward. So Lavanya, if you could tell me what would help you the most at the moment. Is it like a workplace training or more classes or simply more English friendly opportunities? What do you think?
Well, as to start, I would think that the companies here should hire the immigrants just with some basic Dutch, just to start off with. Anyways, of course, there is official English language there. And if not, then maybe they should start more of internships or traineeships just to enter the job market. Maybe it's a 3-month or 6-month contract basis. This builds like a confidence within us. Yeah, we can do. Maybe later on we can move to A2 or maybe B1, B2. We can move on later on. So I think this should be the initial step that the company should take, not being harsh on the immigrants.
Candidates, yeah.
Yes.
I think then the best person to ask is Selvei. Do you think this hire first and train later is the best model, ideal model to keep the committed manpower?
Absolutely. Like I said before, I always look for potential. Even if you're saying that they need this X, Y, and Z, if they have the X and half of the Y, then why not? And when they interview and you see that potential, for me, it's always looking at the potential. So I absolutely agree. Hire first and train later would be, and it probably would have a longer term effect because you invested in that person, and that person's likely to stay with your company a lot longer as well.
That's true. John, what is the most attractive or effective way to accelerate Dutch learning? I mean, it's all available, methods, so that people can see silver bullet.
Yeah.
Get a Dutch partner.
Try to make it simple, not too complicated. Yeah.
Can you elaborate what it is?
Hopefully, this setting will help the people who are involved with this item will pick this up and look for new challenges to give the opportunity to our new citizens to learn the language on low basis, and then pick them up to higher level. That's the way, and not to have an intake with them and they say, okay, you go for the B1 level. That is our experience, is that the students, it's very difficult for them and they get very disappointed. They are not enthusiastic about that. They come to school, they don't come to school. The challenges is not there. There's not enough challenge for them because the level is too high for them. And they know if they go for the exam, they fail for the exam, oh my God, I have to go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's it. Yeah?
Yes.
Give them the opportunity, the challenge to go for it, to go for a goal, and step by step, start with other modules.
Yeah, on that note, I would like to add a point. A B1 level is a very, difficult to even reach the level, right? So somewhere behind our minds, we do have the stress of failing. Yeah, failing means retaking, where you need to invest more time and more money.
Yeah.
It's niet goedkoop. They say, exams. It's very expensive. Each exam is somewhere around 50 euros. So you need to invest more time and more money. And yes, we do have the fear of failing.
And if they don't have a job, how they survive to learn language? You can get a loan from Duo, but after all, you have to pay it back with interest.
Well, the topic is such, I can go on and on and on. There are so many questions, but we have a time limit here. So the last question, Andrew, I would like to pose to you about what is the vision? Yes, of course, on one hand, we want inclusion, people inside, but at the same time, we also want to retain the national language identity. What is your vision that you can actually bring them together, and how to do it in 1 minute?
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, that means that I have to give a sort of a summary of what's already been said. Of course, The Hague is not Zwolle or Haarlem. We are a UN city. We have about 180 nationalities living here. We can't expect all those 180 nationalities to speak Dutch. So there is the lingua franca, that's English. At the same time, we also live in a Dutch environment. And if we want to get the interest and the sympathy also of the Dutch people, I already said it's good to learn a little bit of Dutch. At least, you know, to make your way at the Jumbo. You said Jumbo.
Oh, yes. There you go. Correct pronunciation.
Very fancy. That sounds very fancy. But that means that you know, it is very important that we make an effort because we know, because we're traders in the world, so we have to speak other languages. That's what we do as a Dutch nation. At the same time, we feel honored and also cherished if you learn a little bit of our.
Thank you very much. It's to the point. Today we clearly see that there is a paradox. Dutch is both a bridge and a barrier, and the challenge is to find a solution that respects both identity as well as embracing the talent. I would like to thank you all, and look forward to having time to sit together again to continue the conversation.